Hey everyone, intuitive and astrologer Lisa Salvatore here to talk to you about the remainder of May, specifically the beautiful new moon that we have on May 19th that takes place in the sign of Taurus. First things first, if you are new here, welcome to my channel. I am Lisa Salvatore. I am an intuitive and an astrologer. I practice traditional Western astrology with a strong emphasis on the esoteric and the evolution of the soul. I refer to myself as a conscious astrologer because I guide you in bringing the unconscious to the conscious for clarity, awareness, and healing. I am also highly psychic, so you get a nice psychic reading with all of this as well. And for those of you that have asked, I do not just only do astrology, you can also book a psychic session. You can find all of the sessions that I offer right on my website, lisasalvatore.com. It is linked in the description box below, and there are descriptions there of the types of sessions that I offer. Also, be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you press the bell icon here so that you can be notified of all new uploads. And for those that have been with me for a while, welcome. I thank you for being here and for all of your continued love and support. Okay, so let's get down to it. Today that I'm recording this video, it is May 15th. Tomorrow, May 16th, we have one of the most significant planetary shifts of 2023. Jupiter, our social planet of expansion and benevolence and faith, optimism, growth, spirituality, teaching, the great guru, the great benefactor, Jupiter is going to move into the sign of Taurus. Jupiter changes signs once every year, and it takes Jupiter 12 years to make a full orbit around the zodiac. So the last time that Jupiter was in Taurus was from May 2011 until May of 2012 for frame of reference if you want to think back, track back, and see where you were at that point in your life, at that point on your journey. Jupiter is now back in the sign of Taurus from May 16th, 2023 until May 25th, 2024. Jupiter will magnify whatever he touches. So Taurus is a sign of fixed earth. Taurus rules over the earth's resources, the soil, the food supply, our finances, what we value, our safety, our security, our stability. Those all fall under Taurus. Jupiter, while in the sign of Taurus, is going to expand upon all of these themes. Jupiter and Taurus will pull focus onto all of these themes personally, definitely, and especially on the collective levels, especially when it comes to finances and food supply. So expect to hear a lot going on in these areas over the next year. We're already there. This is an energy that is going to unfold over the coming months. Bonus, go and look to where Taurus falls in your chart. I've linked a video below about how you can locate the planets in your own birth chart. Look at the house that contains Taurus in your birth chart because that is the house that Jupiter will be transiting for the next year. And these will be the areas of your life where you could see some extra blessings. But like I always say with all things Jupiter, there can also be too much of a good thing and overabundance. So we have to stay conscious and aware every step of the way. We also have to be willing to take chances and to have faith. Because yes, sometimes things will be handed to us, but oftentimes we have to take the steps. The opportunities will beckon and then we have to take the steps. So while Jupiter is in Taurus for the next year, this is going to lend to a much more grounding and stabilizing energy, but not without turmoil. But the goal is to bring us towards more grounded, stabilized energy. A deeper connection to the physical world. Taurus is a very physical sign. And when we're dealing with Jupiter, we're dealing with social truths. We're dealing with justice. We're dealing with fairness. But more than that, we're dealing with higher awareness. We're dealing with bigger picture thinking. We're dealing with the future. So positively speaking, again, Taurus is a sign that is patient and persistent and is known to persevere. Taurus wants things to be safe, secure, stable. Jupiter will expand upon these themes. Again, look to your own personal birth chart to see where this is going to take place for you. If you have strong Taurus placements, you will definitely benefit the most from this Jupiter transit, especially if you're a Taurus sun, Taurus moon, Taurus rising. If your Jupiter falls in the sign of Taurus, you will experience your Jupiter return, which again happens once every 12 years. We can look at that as a blessing. But of course, as with every gift, we have to unwrap it in order to get the goodies. And sometimes we have to send some gifts back because they just don't work for us. All right, so right off the top, Jupiter enters Taurus and immediately comes into a harsh aspect with Pluto. Pluto is at 0 degrees of Aquarius, Pluto is retrograde, Jupiter's at 0 degrees of Taurus, so right away, Jupiter and Pluto are going to clash. They are going to square each other. Squares are karmic, tense aspects. They produce challenges. And when we're dealing with Jupiter and Pluto, we are dealing with an expansion of situations having to do with power and control. So it's really important to connect to your personal power, absolutely, but also to be very mindful of what's driving you forward and what is truly motivating you. Also check your temper because tempers will be flaring for the remainder of May. Now, another reason why I'm saying that the rest of May has a potential to be very volatile, it's definitely very dynamic. Yes, on the personal level, but collectively speaking, even more so. Because not only is Jupiter going to come up to Pluto by a harsh aspect, but Mars is about to enter Leo. Mars enters Leo on May 20th. And now Mars is going to join the party here. So Mars will now square Jupiter in Taurus and will oppose Pluto. Okay, so the rest of May is going to be very dynamic, potentially volatile. Personally speaking, yes, but more so on the collective level. But let me talk about the new moon first, because the new moon in Taurus falls on the 19th, and this new moon offers us a sweet spot. I really feel like this is probably one of the most positive and most grounding new moons of 2023. And yes, it's in the earth sign of Taurus, and there's a lot of Taurus energy, which definitely lends to that grounded feeling. But we ourselves are desiring to get more grounded and to get more serious about our goals, about what it is that we want, about what we're going to work towards and how we're going to work towards it. This new moon is actually quite uplifting. It's quite positive. So make sure you do some internal work and you connect and you go to a place of gratitude. Have gratitude for what it is that is working well in your life. Look for the silver lining. As Jupiter's now in Taurus, that's what Jupiter lends towards. Big picture thinking, the silver lining, optimism. There is always a blessing somewhere. And this new moon reminds us of that. There is lots of Taurus energy present with this new moon. We've got the sun and the moon in Taurus, because that's what happens when we have a new moon. The sun and the moon align in the same sign at the same degree. And I'm going to pull up the chart here in a moment. But we've got the sun and the moon in Taurus. We've got Uranus in Taurus. We've got Mercury now direct in the sign of Taurus. We've got Jupiter in Taurus and the North Node in Taurus. Oh, and also Vesta in Taurus. That's a lot of Taurus energy. Taurus energy wants us to feel comfortable. Taurus energy wants us to feel safe. Safe in the knowledge that things are working, that there's an order to the madness, that there's a method to the madness. But at the same time, there's also this potential to have chaotic energy because Uranus is involved, and Uranus can be quite disruptive. With Jupiter here, it's a very expansive and abundant energy. Mercury now direct in Taurus brings another level of positivity to our communications. Things are starting to clear up. We may be getting a lot of clarity from what's been going on over these last couple of weeks, especially when it comes to family dynamics, for better or worse. Clarity regarding family dynamics, for better or worse. Let me clarify that. And there's this big energy of change. And that is so ironic because Taurus, of any of the signs, especially of any of the earth signs, Taurus doesn't really do well with change. Not that they don't do well with it, but they don't necessarily want it, especially if something is working as is. It's almost like the motto, if it isn't broke, don't fix it. That's a strong indication of how Taurus operates. They don't like to upset the apple cart. With all of this energy in the mix, you can pretty much guarantee that there will be an upset here or there. Creative destruction, as I like to call it, as I like to refer to it, with Uranus in the mix. We may see some potential pretty wonky, crazy weather patterns. Wouldn't be surprising. We'll also be hearing a lot of news having to do with financials, world financials, and potentially personal. So check all of your statements, check all of your bank statements, check your credit card statements, make sure everything is in order. Again, because with all this good, there's this underlying theme of disruption. And even though a lot of times disruption is exactly what's necessary to propel us forward, again, it can also be very disruptive, very destructive, very unsettling until it settles. Let me go ahead and pull up the chart. Here we've got the chart for the Taurus new moon. It takes place on May 19th, 11:54 a.m. Eastern time. We see right here the sun and the moon are at 28 degrees and 25 minutes of Taurus. So while everybody will benefit from this new moon in Taurus and everybody will experience the energy of this new moon in Taurus, those that are going to feel it the strongest are going to be those with fixed placements, which are Taurus especially, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius, between 24 and 29 degrees of any of those signs, and also 0 to 2 degrees of the mutable signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, Pisces, and Sagittarius. These will be the signs, these will be the placements that will feel this new moon energy the strongest, that will benefit from this new moon energy the strongest, or likely to see something very tangible manifest, I should say. But again, we all will. Again, I want to stress this is a great new moon to work with and to set intentions with. It's not an eclipse. It's got a whole lot of Taurus, earth, grounding energy. We've got Jupiter here at 0 degrees of Taurus, lending us some beneficial help as long as we're willing to take the steps and work. I'm also going to tell you where this new moon takes place for you by your rising sign, so hang on until the end of the video. Okay, so like I said, here's the new moon, 28 degrees and 25 minutes of Taurus. We've got Mars over here at the 29th degree of Cancer, which I also want to mention, Mars at the 29th degree. Mars is the planet of action and energy and drive and force, fighting, willpower, okay? Mars in Cancer can be a little cranky. Mars in Cancer is cranky, let's just be real. I don't really know anybody that has their Mars in Cancer that is not prone to fits and bursts of crankiness, let's just say. More so than any of the other Mars signs, in my opinion. So Mars at the 29th degree is really ramped up and really kind of aggravated and agitated. And Mars is also moving into an exact opposition with Pluto. It's already active here. So again, there's still this present tension that is mounting. It's like the heat underneath the surface. So again, with all of the abundant and positive energy here, there's also like this force of heat that's driving us forward. That's why I said before, make sure you're checking your motivations every step of the way. Check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? Okay, so we've got Mars here at the 29th degree of Cancer, about to move into Leo, approaching an exact opposition with Pluto. Positively speaking, our ambitions are in overdrive. We're motivated. A lot of energy here, a lot of dynamic energy. Remember, that's also being felt on the world stage. So we may hear a lot coming out of people in positions of power. Remember, Mars is very active. Mars is about action. He's at the 29th degree. The 29th degree is the most active. That's when everything's ramped up. So with all of these energies going on right now, this actually pulls in a grand cross, and you can actually see that shape right here. We've got Pluto at 0 degrees of Aquarius. Pluto is opposing Mars over here at 29 degrees of Cancer, but will be at 0 degrees of Leo very shortly after this new moon. And then Mars over here is squaring Mercury, the North Node, and Jupiter, which are then opposing the South Node over here in Scorpio, which is then squaring Pluto over here in Aquarius. And Pluto is also squaring the Mercury, North Node, Jupiter conjunction up here. This pulls in a grand cross pattern. Grand crosses are tense. They're basically a compilation of squares and oppositions. When I see this chart pattern with a client, I know that this is an individual that is extremely strong, even when, and most of the time, when they don't feel strong, because they're used to this underlying feeling of tension and or challenge in specific areas of their life. That's what this Grand Cross energy produces. But it also produces tremendous perseverance, dogged determination, and the will to succeed by force and drive. I always say with a Grand Cross aspect that diamonds are made under pressure. So again, think about that, apply that to your personal life. And let's also apply that to the collective. We come out stronger. We go through tension. We go through volatility. We go through challenges. We come out stronger for them. We must believe, Jupiter, we must believe in that. Positively speaking, Mars over here at 29 Cancer is trining Neptune at 27 degrees of Pisces. A Mars-Neptune trine is soft, it's very spiritual, it's very intuitive. So there's an emotional alignment that's taking place, but it can also be overly emotional. But Mars is also supporting this new moon. So again, dare to dream, but it's practical dreaming. These are practical dreams because of all this Taurus. And then we've got this Jupiter-Pluto square going on, which is all about deep, deep transformation. And let's be real, that is the purpose of being here, being in this lifetime, is to live. And in order to live, we have to change, we have to grow, we have to shift, or our soul, our spirit will just wither up. So another reminder is it can't always be all work and no play. Remember that as we move through these next couple of weeks. We've got Mercury moving forwards again at 6 degrees of Taurus. Mercury is conjunct the North Node and opposite the South Node. So again, there could be some really positive communications or revelations that come through to you around this new moon that really help to propel you forward and that really help you to get an action plan together. You can really be seeing things clearly at this point. Very, very helpful energy. And again, let's remember there's Jupiter at 0 Taurus supporting Mercury and the North Node. So this is just very, very helpful for seeing the future, for seeing where it is that we need to go, where we want to go, how we're going to get there. There could be some help that comes in for you that you were not expecting. It can come in through some form of a teacher, a guru, a benefactor. You could literally inherit something that you weren't expecting in the most positive way possible. Again, remember with this new moon, think about Jupiter as being the bigger picture energy. We want to stand up from a higher vantage point. We want to be like the eagle, looking down, soaring high, and remembering where it is that we want to go and what it's going to take to get there. And what is the vision? You want to always keep sight of that. Keep sight of the vision. Don't lose the vision. Jupiter's really helping us with that, supporting us. But again, I have to mention, watch out for fighting. Watch out for tension, especially if you're fixed, Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, Aquarius, because you're probably going to feel very agitated. You're going to feel very motivated, yes, but also likely very agitated, more easily agitated. And we've also got Vesta up here in Taurus. And Vesta's not really close enough to the new moon to really put a lot of emphasis on it, but it's in Taurus and I want to count it because Vesta speaks to what it is that we're devoted to, what it is that we're dedicated to, our spiritual purpose, our spiritual mission. And so again, it just really brings in this feeling of grounding, about what feels like home for us, what feels safe, and what doesn't, because the South Node's in Scorpio, so whatever doesn't, we're still working to do away with. Either that or the universe is doing away with it for us. Remember, new moons are all about the new. This is positive, abundant energy. It's a burst forward, very strong momentum at this point. So a little extra grounding is going to go a very long way. We're dealing with Taurus, all about the earth. Let's ground, let's connect, get out into nature. Nourish your body with good foods. Taurus is also all about farming, agriculture. So if ever there were a time that you wanted to really get into farming, farmers markets, biodynamic farming, hydroponics, this is the time. Know where your food is coming from. Learn more about it. Plant your own garden. Start small. Again, this is what this energy is promoting, amongst many things, because we can't control what goes on out there. We can only control what goes on here, like I always say, right? So again, what makes you feel connected? What makes you feel good? What makes you feel secure? What makes you feel safe, confident? Do more of that. Even though Mars and Pluto are clashing, both Mars and Pluto are actually supporting this new moon. So again, Pluto is providing us with the heat, with the driving force, with that push forward. And even if it feels psychologically draining, it's pushing us forward towards healing and transformation. And abundance can only come from that. And the only way out is through. Okay, so that is this new moon. Be sure to set aside some quiet time to contemplate, to reflect, to look upon the future and where it is that you'd like to go. Set your goals, work toward them, work hard, and watch the magic happen. You have to believe. Jupiter is also about belief. And this is not like hocus pocus fairy dust beliefs. This is realistic, practical beliefs, okay? This is Taurus energy. This is about what's tangible. This is about what's solid. That's what we want. That's what we're going for. No fluff. That's not this energy. Okay, the day after this new moon on the 20th, that is when Mars and Pluto are going to clash exactly. That's when they're going to square at 0 degrees Mars in Leo, 0 degrees Pluto in Aquarius. Exact opposition here. This is tension. This is explosive. It has the potential to be. This is what I call like the kapow energy. Anytime Mars and Pluto connect, that's what it feels like, even by soft aspect. This is not a soft aspect, okay? I want to stress that. We are going to definitely feel this in some capacity on the world scale. I can't imagine that we wouldn't. Pluto and Mars are very similar energy. Mars is direct force. Pluto is indirect force. Both Mars and Pluto are all about power, okay? Power dynamics. Pluto is a higher octave of Mars. Both Mars and Pluto rule Scorpio. The difference again is that Mars goes about force in a very direct way, where Pluto does it in an indirect way, under the surface kind of way. But it's just as powerful. We could even argue more so because Pluto's goal is to overturn and expose, and Mars is just to win. Again, these are two similar energies vying for control. It can get very, very heated and very, very disruptive quite quickly. Again, watch out for that showing up in your personal life. Watch out for any extra fighting with others. There could be a struggle to assert your own power. So strive for the middle ground. Try to find the middle ground. Again, Mars and Pluto, this is fighting. Then we get to the 21st and the sun will enter Gemini, 3:09 a.m. Eastern time on the 21st. The sun enters Gemini. Happy birthday to all of the Gemini souls. It is your season. And right away, the sun moves into Gemini and then it trines Pluto. So it kind of softens the blow just a little bit. Remember, Gemini is very expressive and Gemini is very communicative. Gemini is a sign of the intellect. Gemini is a thinker. Also very flexible and versatile though. So things can change on a dime. So this is the energy that is surrounding the rest of May and the new moon in Taurus. Okay, so where will this new moon fall for you by your sign? Please follow your rising sign for most accuracy. Taurus rising, this new moon will take place in your first house. This is a very personal new moon for you. This is all about yourself, your deepest self. This is about your expression. This is about who you are out in the world, how you're putting out your energy, your personal stamp and flavor, your brand, if you will. Perfect new moon to set intentions for reinvention. It's a great time to adopt some sort of new physical practice. It's a great time to do work with the physical body. This is a very expressive new moon for you. Now more than ever, you may really be looking towards change. A lot of you may actually be changing something very significant in your life. You might be moving, you might be ending a very significant relationship, you might be beginning a new relationship. You're going out of your comfort zone, and this is the perfect new moon for that. You also have Jupiter transiting your first house, so luck is on your side. So use it wisely. Dream big, but remain humble. Gemini rising, this new moon will take place in your 12th house. The 12th house is behind the scenes. So this is going to be a great new moon for you to really honor the needs of the physical and spiritual body. These are the things that you don't necessarily show the world. This is where you spend time in solitude. This is where you recharge your batteries. Gemini risings are very active, but that mind needs to rest, as does the body. So this is a great new moon to look towards different ways or expanding the ways in which you restore your spirit. If you need any kind of psychological healing, you're going to be really looking forward toward that. You're taking steps to correct whatever you feel is spiritually misaligned in your life. This is a wonderful new moon for that. Cancer rising, this new moon takes place in your 11th house. The 11th house is all about our friendships, our groups, the way that we network, our associations. It's also where we express our humanitarian side. So having this new moon here, set some new routines, expand your social circle, start to network more. Say yes to opportunities. You're likely going to find a lot of opportunities coming in through friends or friends of friends, through contacts. And some of you may be deciding to get a new pet. Leo rising, this new moon takes place in your 10th house. You could find out something surprising regarding your career, but that surprise could really take you forward. So be open. On the career front, there could be a lot of changes going on for you right now, Leo rising. Your financial situation could really be changing. It could be growing. It could be expanding. It might not be comfortable for you at first, but your advice is to go with the flow. Again, this new moon's going to take you far if you allow it to, but expect it to be a little bit disruptive at first, or at least for it to feel that way until it settles in. But I feel like there's going to be a lot of career changes on the horizons for our Leo rising folks. Virgo rising, this new moon takes place in your 9th house of faith and spirituality, truth, justice, higher learning, higher education, foreign travel. Perhaps you get presented with a surprise opportunity to go on a trip, a long distance journey. And if it makes you nervous, even more of a reason for you to do it. Perhaps your belief system is completely changing and expanding in very surprising ways. Allow it to be, let it flow. Bring in the new, it's a new moon. If you've been wanting to learn another language, perfect time to start studying. Your mojo will be high. Libra rising, this new moon takes place in your 8th house. This could be speaking to you about any loans that you have or any debts that you owe on the emotional level, but especially on the financial level. You could be dealing with something having to do with an inheritance within the family or a property that needs to be handled. You might be called upon to step up and take action. You may also find yourself dealing with some really deep-seated intimacy issues, something that you've been avoiding for a very long time. You're recognizing how it's been damaging to your soul and to your psyche, and you're determined to correct it and to fix it. This is the perfect new moon for that. Just like I said for Gemini rising, for anything psychological or spiritual, really good new moon to set a course here, a new course of action. And let's not forget that the 8th house also rules over sex, and not just sex, but transformative sex. So hey, new moon. New beginnings. Scorpio rising, this new moon takes place in your 7th house of relationships, contracts, negotiations, partnerships. You could see a lot of changes in these areas, but it's up to you to solidify or to sever, and in some cases, both. Sagittarius rising, this new moon takes place in your 6th house of your daily routine and service, also your physical health, your healing. It's a great time to implement a new health routine or to change up your daily environment. Sagittarius is a mutable sign, so that would serve you well. It's time for the new. It's time for something more expansive that lends to a big opening in the everyday life. It's time to expand something about your everyday reality or to add a new healthcare routine to the mix. Capricorn rising, this new moon takes place in your 5th house of creative projects, love affairs, children, fun, pleasure, play. As I say this, I get the sense there hasn't been a whole lot of that for you lately if you're a Cap rising. So this new moon's going to have you wanting that more. You're going to be desiring to get out and have some fun, to feel more free. So go for it because it's a wonderful new moon for that. And yes, your creative projects have their place. Keep working on them, but make sure you leave room for fun. Connect to the children in your life. Let your own inner child out to play. This is a strong new moon for healing the inner child. Aquarius rising, this new moon takes place in your 4th house of your personal life, your home, your physical home, your family, your security systems, your emotions. This could be a very nostalgic new moon for you that has you reconnecting to a place or to a person that you have not seen or been around for a really long time. There's a very strong sense of nostalgia attached to this new moon for the Aquarius rising. I think you're gonna like it. Pisces rising, this new moon takes place in your 3rd house of communication, short distance travel, communication projects, your siblings, your cousins, your community, those that you connect to on the day-to-day. You may be feeling much more social than normal, Pisces, so use this new moon to collaborate and connect. It's also a great new moon for writing projects, broadcasting, networking, communicating. 3rd house is communication. And not just on the intuitive level, Pisces. I'm talking about the tangible. This is a Taurus new moon. Taurus is about what's in front of us, what we can see, not just what we feel. And last but certainly not least, Aries rising, this new moon takes place in your 2nd house. The 2nd house rules over our personal finances. It's our core values and our core beliefs. It's our self-esteem. It's our sensual pleasures. So really take the time to go over your finances, make a financial plan if you need to, correct the course if necessary, go deep about what it is that you truly value, what's truly important to you, and not just on a superficial level. Think long-term. Okay, and there you have it. That is the new moon through all 12 signs. Be sure to set an intention in the specific areas of your life and of your chart where this new moon will fall for you. And pay attention to what is being presented to you around this time. Because remember, with Jupiter in Taurus, opportunity surrounds us. We just have to be open. Take really good care of yourselves. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. And you can visit my website, lisasalvatore.com, and I will be back soon with another video. Take care. Bye.